Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to InterJovem, your exchange program on the radio and web. This week, we have a guest from a very, very special country. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, my name is John Albert. I am from Egypt. To be more specific, I'm from Cairo, from the land of the Great Pyramids.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Egypt is a very interesting country. It has 97.5 million inhabitants, like a lot of people. And what's interesting is that I heard that it's very dense. So it says that 99% of the population lives in like 5.5% of the land. So would you say that there's like a lot of the cities are very populated in there, like very dense, like a lot of people?
Yeah, actually, people live in the Nile. They don't live in the rest of Egypt. They live just on the Nile to get the water. So actually, they live in like Cairo and Alexandria and Giza, because it's just the places that have water, and they just live there, and it's really big, and it's like cities, and
so it's very concentrated. Yeah. And what is the official language that is spoken in Egypt?
We speak Egyptian Arabic. It's a little bit different from the other Arabics, but it's good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And is it true that English and French are like very common as a second language in there?
Yeah, actually English is, we take English at schools as a second language. And actually I had some French classes in Egypt, but French is kind of hard for Egyptians, so we didn't like take care of it that much. But we speak a little bit English. Yeah, it's our second language there.
Is there any like kind of similarities between your language and English?
No, it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine. Also, I know that the majority of Egyptians are Sunni Muslims. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're like from 70 to 90% from the population there.
Do you also see any Christian based religions in there?
Yeah. There's like 20%. Yeah, there's a lot actually.
Okay. So there's a lot as well.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so is it true that I heard that like 5 times a day or more, like the kind of like the Muslim the mosque, like they call for the faithful for prayer? Is that true? Like
yeah,
they have kind of like a...
That's true. They go to pray there like 5 times a day, and there's like there's a sound came like it's from in the streets. You can hear it from like a long distance, and yeah, that happens 5 times a day. One in the morning and like 2. It's like some hours like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. You know. Yeah. Like 5, yeah, it's 5 times.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And are there? Is it the country divided in states like it is here in the United States, like Arizona, California, or?
Yeah, actually, it's divided to like something like a states, but it's not big actually. We states like Cairo and Alexandria and Giza and Montefiore, and we have a lot of like states, but actually. Most of people, like I told you, live in the like. We're not using the whole Egypt, and we don't have states everywhere. We just have states in the Nile, you know, like they're
the surroundings.
Yeah,
I see. So it's kind of like you made the big cities are kind of like city states then.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like cities. Yeah, and
that's very interesting. Yeah. And I know that Egypt is the 30th largest country in the world by area, and it's slightly smaller than 3 times. Slightly 3 times larger than New Mexico. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty interesting. It has a lot of desert as well, right?
Yeah, it has a lot of desert, and people don't live there. Actually, they live
around the Nile.
Yeah, on the Nile only.
And so we know there's a desert, the Sahara Desert. Mm-hmm. How, and as you said, the there's the Nile River there. There's the world longest running rivers, like almost like 4,200 miles or something. It's really, really big.
Yeah, it's really
It's which is like 6,000.7 kilometers approximately, which is
yeah.
really
I don't really know that, but it starts from like the country under us, like it's called I forgot its name actually, Khartoum. The Sudan, the country that under us. The Nile starts from the Sudan and go all the way to the Mediterranean Ocean.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a big river.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the Sahara is the known as the world's largest hot desert, because Antarctica is also considered a desert. But so how is that like? Do people is there a lot of any kind of activities that you could do in the like close to the Sahara, or do people just really stick around nearby the Nile?
Yeah, people sometimes go there, do things like camping, or like they have fun there, but it's really hot, like you said. They do something like skating and things like that there, and it's fun. Yeah.
So sports and
sports. Yeah. I forgot what they do actually, but we do a lot of things in the Sahara.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a lot of like dunes and all that. Must be a good place to find some fun.
Yeah.
And also, I know that Egypt borders Israel, Libya, and Sudan, right? And then the rest is towards the towards water. Is there any kind of relationship between those four countries? Like, do people go there? Like, for example, people go to Sudan or Libya a lot to like travel and tourism, like in a week of a holiday that you have or something. Do people have that or not?
Okay, we don't travel out of like Egypt, but actually sometimes we go. There's like another state called Marsa Matruh. We go there, and it's right behind Libya, so you can drive to Libya, and yeah, it's very close. So you can drive to Libya and you can drive to this, but you should fly it, And I don't think that we have like relationships between the other countries, but it's like we're in good terms,
So it's not like there's anything against, but you also don't really pay a lot of attention.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And how about the climate? Well, we know that, as we said, the biggest part of it is desert, so it's pretty much hot and dry.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's in the middle of the world, so it has really good weather in the winter. It's like the weather don't change a lot. It's like in the winter it is something, and it's completely it's in the winter it's straight like it's 30 degrees Celsius, and in the summertime maybe 40, and it's like that all day year.
And you probably get a lot of sunlight.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and I actually heard that there's like only an inch of rain falls in Egypt per year in average, which is very little.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of rain, but that's good. I know. I mean, like we have the Nile, and we drink from the Nile, and we do everything from the Nile, so we don't have to get rain. We have some forests as well that like grow by the rains and these things, but we don't get much rain like here or anywhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And what would you say is your favorite thing about your country?
Okay, I think it's like people live close to each other, so they can interact, and like everywhere you go, you know people. And I mean, when I used to live in Cairo, it was like anywhere I go, I find people that I know, and it's like, yeah, it's really good. You can find your friends, and
that's cool. So
Yeah.
would you say then that people there interact well with each other, and they're always like respectful and like friendly and all that?
yeah, they are, but not as here. You know, here's people are like more friendly, but people there like interact good, not bad. I mean, but not as here. You know, people here are more respectful.
No.
Yeah.
So you're saying that in here people are more friendly than in Egypt?
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because being Brazilian, when I came here, I thought that Americans were less friendly than Brazilians.
Oh, you thought that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Should
Yeah.
go visit Brazil maybe sometime then.
Yeah.
So what do people do for fun then? Do people travel? Do people stay home? Do they just like go to a movie theater or something? What's like the common idea of having like a cool vacation or just like a cool weekend off?
Yeah, so we pretty much study in the weekdays, and at the weekends we hang out and like go to the movies and do these things. And actually in the summer it's different. We go like to the North Coast and we enjoy there, and we go some places like that. We spend the whole summer there, and in the winter time we go to our schools in Cairo again, or the place we live.
And is summer in the end of the year or in the middle of the year?
In the end of the year, in the middle, it's like it's like what I told you. In the winter we stay for schools, and in the summer we go have fun. Different places have like oceans or like things we can go there. Yeah.
I say that because like in Brazil, it's like in here summer is in the middle of the year, June, July, and in Brazil it's like December, January.
Oh, so yeah, you mean when is the winter comes? Yeah, winter. I don't really know, but so winter during the school time, you know, and the summer is the 4 month.
There you have a break.
After the break, yeah.
Okay, so I know that the literacy rate in Egypt is for men is like around the 80%, and for women is around 60%. So like the amount of people that can read. Would you say that women do have like a lower amount of education compared to men?
Yeah, actually, in Egypt, I mean like parents do not educate their like daughters really good, because they know that if they got a job or something, it's not worth it to work for a woman. They will get a less not good salary or something. So they just they do not. Some women do not work, and they marry and live like normal woman in the house, and
like housewife.
Yeah, housewife just. And the man, there's a lot of men educated, but there's some they're not educated enough to get a nice job and a good salary. So at the end they lost all of their money, and I mean they become homeless or something. There's a lot of people like that there.
Oh, and would you say that the common mindset of people, the common way of thinking, is it usually does it usually attach to the religious affiliation of the people? Because we saw that most of Egyptians are Muslim. Would you say that their mindset goes a lot by their religion, or do you think that people get like that different, their government and their society kind of a little bit away from their religion, and they make it two separate things?
No, I don't think so, because people in Egypt interact really good, actually, even if they are like Muslims or Christians. They interact really good, actually. All of my friends are Muslims. I have like 1/3 of my friends are Christians. We don't really care. We don't really like take care of these things. We're friends, it's normal for us. Yeah. we raised like that and we lived like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really impact on
Yeah.
the mindset. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And so I know that there was the 2011 Egyptian revolution started in January that the Egyptian were protesting on like lack of what they said was like lack of free speech, and they wanted like free elections and for police brutality and government corruption. There was like many other different rules, and then there was like a lot of deaths. Almost 1,000 people died, and more than like 5,000 were injured. So how was that like? Did you? I know that you were kind of a kid when that happened, but how's that like to people? Do people still feel the impact on that nowadays? Do people still like feel closely attached to that happening?
Actually, I mean, like in this time, actually, there was a lot of problems in Egypt, and people went crazy, and they were really angry, and they wanted to change the president and like get a new one, and they are not comfortable with this president, and it was really hard days for Egyptians. So they did all of that. And if you like looked at the pictures of the in Google, or you Google pictures of that or something, you will see that there was a lot of people there in the in the streets, and they were like saying that they don't need the president and they want to change him. And at the end, the president said that he's not gonna like manage or control the country again, and he went away. And we did like votes again, and we got a new one, and the same thing happened. So we changed him, and at the end we got a third one, and now he's managing the thing there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's apparently like the Egyptian revolution also sparked other revolutions in Yemen and Syria and Libya as well. So it was a very impactful moment, and it was very recent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was in the Middle East actually. The whole,
And I want to know, going a little bit into like laws and things, what is the drinking age in Egypt?
Okay, so we talked about that it like 80% of the population there are Muslims, and Muslims do not drink.
Okay.
So we pretty much do not drink in Egypt. You can drink if you want from any age you want, but I mean, the society doesn't care about that, you know. So it's like we don't have like a specific age to drink or something, but they do not drink because that's a part of our customs, culture, and yeah.
And I know that voting age is 18, right? 18 years old.
Yeah, it is 18. Yeah,
and
when you get your ID.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what's your driving age?
So driving age is 18. The ID, your ID, you get an ID 16. Yeah.
Oh.
And you drive 18 at 18.
Huh. And okay, now one thing that of course is very prominent about Egypt is ancient Egypt and all the culture with everything. It impacted today's world in many, many ways. You know, with all the Egyptian gods and the pharaohs and the pyramids and everything. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So you can see the mummification that the ancient Egyptians thought that mummifying the body would make sure that the dead person would have like a safe passage to the afterlife, and that there was like the embalming of the body, and then the wrapping, the burial, and all that. And then there was also the hieroglyphs, with that started as wall paintings, and then and it's interesting because, like, for example, like the English alphabet has 26 words, and the hieroglyphs were like there was like 700 different types of. So it's very complex form of writing and communication. How would you say that this is portrayed like in Egypt? Like, do you learn about this at school? Do you see that around in like culture or like museums or something like that?
Yeah, we have some museums, but we can go like to the places that the ancient Egyptian lived there, and we can go by ourselves, and we can hang out there and discover the things there in our own. It's like we go, for example, to the pyramids. We go there, we can like climb them or something, or do anything we want. They do not care about. I mean, like that was 7,000 years ago, and they are destroying the pyramids, and they're destroying the Egyptians now. They're like, they go there and it's not good. They do not care if they like broke it or something. Yeah.
And it's a very interesting culture, mostly for I really like the hieroglyphs. I think it was very interesting because apparently there's no vowels on it, so there's no way for sure to know how the ancient Egyptians pronounced their words. It's something very interesting.
Yeah, I know that. So basically they used like paintings to communicate, to type with, and if they want to type something, they just like draw paintings and things like that. Draw like maybe a line or something like that to just describe the situation out or what they want to do or something like that. I don't really know a lot about this language. It's really hard, and I don't think that any country uses it now. We do not use it, so it's expired.
And about the religion, I know that Egyptians worship more than like 1,000 different gods and goddesses, and I think the most important was Ra. I don't know how to say the
Ra.
god of sun.
Yeah.
And and then there are many superstition beliefs that, for example, they believe that when the Nile overflows because the goddess Isis, it was like Isis's tears, things like that, and also that like the first mummy was Osiris, which was murdered by Seth, which is like also the two gods, and then Isis wrapped him in bandages, and then he came back to life from the dead, and now he became like the god of like, afterlife, right? And it's very interesting. Like, do you have like when you're in school, do you get taught about that all that culture that happened?
Yeah, actually, when you're young, they teach you these things at school, like who controlled Egypt at this time, and how people lived and interact with each other, and they teach you they teach you about the wars. They teach you like the who was the leaders and killed, and who after that controlled and managed the thing, and it's really interesting, and it's hard as well.
So you learn how to conciliate the religion and all that with the government and the way how that things worked.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
and I also know that they had a lot of impact on technology and like knowledge in general of things now from nowadays. Like they because they kind of needed to predict when the Nile would flood, they developed the first calendar, which is very interesting. It's very unique. And then they had such good data of like when the Nile was going to flood that these kind of data are still used today for research. So it's very thought provoking that something that they had all that kind of capability of knowledge, and they also knew about Mercury and Venus and Saturn, Mars, Jupiter. So it's very, very interesting. It's like very promising. Yeah,
actually they discovered a lot of things, and I think they had like a cure or something for cancers, and they were really they had a lot of medical advantages. And but we can't read their like writings because we don't know how to read it. So it's like they discovered a lot of things. They had I don't think that they had like technology or something, but they were brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now moving to education. Do you have public and private schools? No.
Yeah, we have public and private schools. Actually, public schools are really terrible. You don't know.
Oh.
Actually, private schools are terrible. So what if you went to like a public school? It's a disaster.
Oh.
Yeah.
So education is not.
Yeah, education is not good in Egypt.
And are private schools reachable? Can people do you see a lot of people going to private schools, or is it like a very select few that goes to private schools?
I mean, like, from my experience, the people that I was with, we were all in private schools, but people that did not get a chance or they did not have enough money to go to a private school, they go to a public school, and it's really bad. You don't have an idea about that.
And how do universities work? Are they public and private, or?
Yeah, it's there's public and there's private. So I mean, you should like decide what you want to study, and you go to. For example, you want to be an engineer. You join engineering. So I mean, like, when you're senior, you take a test. If you pass that test, they give you if you get a good grade, this grade makes you it's not it's hard to get a good grade. So if you get a good grade, you can join something good, and you can join engineering or
so the grade of that national exam is all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that in Brazil too. Actually,
yeah.
Like if you get a certain grade, and then you can apply, use that grade to go to certain universities and apply for certain courses.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And actually, the I don't know, did you know that the first considered as the first university, the oldest university in the world, was in Cairo? It's the Al Azhar University. Does that sound familiar?
That was. I think the ancient Egyptians,
the 900s.
Exactly. They know how to educate their children, and
That's very very interesting.
Yeah.
And would you say, you told me that boys and girls have different educations. Girls don't usually have that much education.
Yeah.
Would you say that you can see a lot of work to change that, or do you think that people just like it the way it is, and they don't really try to change that scenario of women not having as much education as men?
I think people they're comfortable that the man works, and the woman just stay as a wife at home, just take care of the kids, and that is the families in Egypt. And I don't think that they're gonna change that.
That's interesting to me, because I know that during the ancient Egyptians were also famous because women had more rights and privileges than most other men in the ancient world. So they could own property, and they could have businesses, and they could initiate a divorce, and they could be they could be from wealthy families and become doctors or priestesses. So that's really interesting that even though they had that past of being equally having that kind of equality, that nowadays it kind of changed. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And how would you say is health system? Is it also public and private?
Health system? You mean so here the insurances and these things here, like the health insurance, we don't have these things in Egypt. We just, if you got injured or just you got cancer or something, you go and pay the money. It's cheaper than here, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it so? Do you have public and private, or?
I mean, there's like good hospitals and bad ones, but I think people go to the good ones because
Private then?
yeah, the private. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're not private and public, but it's like the better ones and these things.
So it's just measuring out quality.
Yeah, the quality is.
And was ancient Egypt was also very important for medicine. There are some scholars that believe that the ancient Egyptians were the first to sew wounds closed like 4,000 years ago. That's amazing. And they had a lot of surgeries. You know, they had the oldest metal surgery tools in the world, and also had a lot of practice in anatomy because of like all the mummies and all that. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I also know that, as you can tell, I did a little bit of research.
Yeah.
So it's they had prosthetics for like artificial toes and eyeballs or something. Usually for like bodies, they didn't actually work, but like for aesthetics.
Yeah.
For maybe mummification or something that they just didn't.
They discovered. We didn't know yet how to do like a mummy or something. It's really hard for us now. We didn't know. Nobody discovered that yet. But ancient Egyptian did that actually, and the thing that the body, it's completely normal like it used to be when the person was alive. It didn't turn back to dust or something. It's like it's the same as the person died or something.
Yeah, it's interesting because even nowadays you can still go to some places and see the full body.
If you saw a mummy or something, it's like it's a real person just sleeping or something.
Yeah. And I also know that they had a lot of dentistry, so that because the Egyptian diet apparently was like very high in abrasives, like they had a lot of sand from leftover of the grinding of the grain, and like bits of rocks that maybe were like in the bread that were prepared. So, and you can see like in all like many mummification and all that, like the dental quality was always being restored. So they also had that, which is awesome. And also don't need to talk about pharmacology. So like they discovered a lot about the plants that were surrounding them and all that.
They were farming really well actually, because they were eating like they used to plant. They should plant very well actually, because they have a lot of people that eat, and they knows exactly how to like manage the thing in planting and like that. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yeah. Very very progressive. And now about economy, I know that Egypt has a big, I think it was like 10-12% of their economy is based on, like, of the workforce is based on tourism, which is very interesting. So would you say that you have like we probably have a lot of tourists going to Egypt all the time?
Yeah, actually, we get a lot of visitors every year to Egypt to visit like our civilization. But after the 2011 revolution, people became like nervous or like became afraid to go to Egypt because the problems and these things. So it became like fewer. They became fewer, and they do not go not a lot actually.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. And I also know that poverty is a big problem there, and then there's a lot of unemployed people. Would you say that you can see a lot of that in the cities?
I don't know actually. Unemployed? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't really know that.
It's okay. And also, I know that it has a lot of industries that it's almost like 50% of the Egypt's GDP. So that they produce textiles and food products, chemicals and cement, and metals, and other manufacturers. And then it has like a lot of agriculture as well nearby the Nile Valley, because it's like one of the most, if not the most, I think it is the most like intensely cultivated, producing farming region in the world, is like around the Nile. So I know that you have a lot of cotton, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of
It's
cotton.
like the main exportation, and also rice apparently.
Yeah, we just no, we don't have plenty of rice, but sometimes we lack of rice.
Oh, huh.
And sometimes we lack of some resources, and but we have like a good weather to plant or get a good resources to the year and to the population and to the people that live in Egypt. But we're like, we order and we get from different countries, like we get spices from India and these things, you know.
So it's a lot of so basically like your exportations and your like the resources that you have for yourself, they depend a lot on the Nile then.
Yeah. Yeah, we use the water to plant. Yeah, it's really good.
So it's very determined a lot then. And I also know that you have a lot of mining, that you have a lot of oil and petroleum that you produce and you export to United States and Italy, Spain, France, and Saudi Arabia. It's a lot of.
We have some, but not as much as Saudi Arabia actually. But we have some, but it's like, it's an unrenewable resource, so it's gonna be like in the next few years it will be all gone. Yeah.
And also about because I know that Egypt has a really good culinary, has a lot of good food and a lot of traditional food. Is there any do you know any traditional food that you think is good pointing out?
Yeah, there's we have like something like called molokhaya.
No.
Yeah, you know that it's people here call it molokhaya. But molokhaya, we eat rabbits.
Oh.
Yeah. And chicken. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And I heard that there's this, I don't know, I have no clue how to pronounce it. This one right here.
Yeah, shawarma. Yeah. Shawarma. It's like a meat, and there's a chicken meat and a beef meat, and like it's really good.
That's cool. And there's also like this one right here. It's like apparently it's a sweet.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a rice. It's okay. It's called rose bil laban.
Rose bil laban.
Rose bil laban. Okay. Rose means rice.
Oh.
Bil laban mixed with milk.
Oh.
So it's rice mixed with milk, but it's really good. Yeah, it's really sweet.
That's cool.
What else?
And kofta.
Kofta. Yeah, kofta. Kofta is. I think we have kofta. You have kofta here, but I don't know its name.
It's like a chicken, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's like a meat or something.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't really know what it's made from, but it tastes really good.
That's good. That's what it matters.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And also, we wanted to jump to some curiosities, because Egypt's a country that is full of curiosities. Just sake of kind of like my favorite part of the interview, just like saying curiosities, and then want to know if you ever heard about them, if you think that they're probably right, or if they're probably wrong. So, or if you ever heard of it. So. There's this thing. It says that Cleopatra was actually Greek, not Egyptian or African. Do you think that's true? Ever heard about that? Cleopatra.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
No, she was Egyptian, and she controlled and managed Egypt for like I don't really know, but it was like 10 years or something, and. She was really she was brilliant, you know. She was controlling everything very well, and she died at the end. Yeah.
And it's interesting. It says that that monument, the obelisk, Cleopatra's Needle, it had more damage in the 125 years that is sitting in New York City from the pollution and the weather than in thousands of years that it stood in Egypt. So it's very interesting. I saw that, like, actually, when I went to New York and I saw it, I saw that.
Actually, they did a great research.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know all of these things.
Yeah. And then, it also says that Mexico actually has the largest pyramid in the world in terms of volume. So the Cholula pyramid. I had no clue. I thought it was.
Yeah, I know. I saw the Mexican pyramids actually.
Oh.
It's like a temples or something. It's not as ours. Ours, it's like a pyramid made of like a stones, very big stones, and like that. And the Mexican ones are like, you have like steps, or it's like you go and enter it, and it's like a temple. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also the pyramid is definitely something that I want to visit, because it's the oldest of the seventh wonders in the ancient world, but it's also the only one to survive today, which is really interesting, you know. And it says that if you chopped the Great Pyramid into 12-inch cubes, you could there would be enough cubes to circle the moon almost 3 times.
Okay,
that's a weird fact. But,
it's okay. So we have a lot of pyramids. Actually, we don't have just one. We have there's the most famous ones are the 3 that we all see. It's called, their names are Khufu and Khafra and Manqara. 3 of them are in different sizes. So I don't know really which one you're talking about. So, but the biggest one is really huge. It's like a big building. It's really huge. I don't know. Actually, when they were building it, they had no like machines or something to help them. They just they hold the stones. It's really huge. It's bigger than this table. The one.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
And also, there's this rumor that says that the Titanic sunk because of a like mummified Egyptian priestess that the ship was transporting. That I had no clue. That I think it's, I don't know.
I don't think that's true, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't sound really true.
Yeah, it's like no.
Those little myths, because there are many like different myths about the curses and like all the the things.
I don't believe in curses, but it's like that was a bad luck.
Yeah. And did you like? Is there any one still today in Egypt that still believes in the ancient Egyptian gods?
No, never. No.
Not even like a very, very small population?
No. Actually, the gods in Egypt were the pharaohs. The pharaohs who controlled or managed Egypt. People believed that they are the gods. They called themselves we're the gods and things like that. So people believed that they're the gods, and they were buried people like in a pyramids. They are buried under the pyramids, and with all of their stuff, so they can so they can live again with to the next life. Like you said, that's true. That happened. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I mean, the Egyptian culture is just something, for me, it's amazing. There's like so much thing in the past and so much thing nowadays. It's so much culture to learn. Is like 100% in my bucket list. I really want to go there and visit all the, see the as many pyramids as I can see in like the museums. Even though I know that like many of the pyramids were raided by robbers, so it's like not a lot of like ancient objects that we can find. Like, I mean, there are a lot, but there's not as much as it could be, I believe. So it's very, it's just really interesting. So for me, it's a very thought-provoking and a very just wonderful place culture. I really like the
Yeah,
place.
they were, they were really smart, and they were different. They were unique. I know that.
Yeah, still are.
Yeah. No, not really. No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, in the past they had more progressivism than they seem to have today, but still a very unique population. For example, like you said, the religious union that there is, even though like most of the country is Muslim, they still have good relationship with the people who are, Christian.
That's
all
really
that
good.
that is not that like the major rule in the country. You don't see that in many places. So why did you are you here for what grade are you in the United
I'm
States? Freshman.
Yeah.
Are you planning on finishing your high school here?
Yeah, I do actually, because in Egypt the education is not really good. So I think I'm gonna complete here.
And do you want to go to college here?
Yeah, I think anyway it's gonna be out of Egypt. Even if it's not here in Phoenix, it's gonna be like maybe in Canada or something. Yeah.
And
because I'm Canadian as well. I'm not Egyptian. I'm Canadian Egyptian.
Oh.
So yeah, I have the Canadian citizen.
That's cool.
So I can go in there.
That's really nice. And do you play any sports?
Yeah, actually, I can play everything. Actually, all Egyptians do that. Actually, they can play everything, like volleyball, basketball, soccer, everything. I mean, if they didn't practice, we trash at things, but I mean, we can play everything. Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of tell that you guys know how to play a bunch of different sports, because you beat me every single time in ping pong.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we can play everything. Yeah, I know that they love to play sports, so everything they can see. Yeah, they can play basketball, volleyball, handball, water polo.
I heard that swimming is kind of pretty big there too. Like a lot of people go swimming. Like
we have a good swimmers actually, but not like Michael Phelps. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you say good morning
in Arabic?
Yeah.
In our Egyptian Arabic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sabah al-Khair.
Okay, say that again?
Sabah al-Khair.
Sabah al-Khair.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for you, but try to say like that.
Like
Sabah.
Sabah
al-Khair.
Sabah al-Khair.
Yeah, Sabah al-Khair.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And how do you say goodbye?
Salam.
Salam. Okay. So, thank you so much for being here. I hope you had fun, and thank you so much for sharing all that information. Is there anything you'd like to say? Maybe someone at home that's going to watch this?
My family are waiting for that. So thank you, David, so much.
Sure.
It was a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you. Pleasure all mine.
And I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you next week right here. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, InterJovem Oficial, so InterJovem official. So see you guys next week on Saturday. Hope you had fun, and salam, right? Salam.